Most people overcomplicate fat loss. They chase quick fixes, fad diets, or some magic jab to solve it all, and then wonder why they never get past square one. If I had to lose 10 kg fast, I would do exactly what I did earlier this year to lose 19 pounds in just under 6 weeks. I'm the one that's helped over 200 clients lose the fat and keep it off. Just like Chris here, who lost 22 kg in 16 weeks. And today I'm giving you the full blueprint. No half-truths, no holding back. I'm giving you everything so that you can finally win at fat loss. So you can finally break past all of the confusion and the misinformation keeping you stuck. So let's get into it. The boring one that you've heard a million times over, calories. Your calorie intake will make or break your fat loss result. If you eat more calories than you need to maintain your body weight, you will gain weight. This is a calorie surplus. And if you eat less calories than you need to maintain your body weight, you will lose weight. This is a calorie deficit. Boring. We've all heard this. How many do we need to fucking eat? Connor, just tell me a number. I'm going to, but let me say this first. Any calorie calculation initially is a best guess. Most of the time it's pretty damn solid, but it won't be perfect. Now there's two that I would typically use. You can take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 10 to 12 to give you your starting target. Naturally, the lower the number, the more aggressive it is. If you're carrying more body fat, you can go lower again. As with the additional body fat that you're carrying, you have more energy reserves, so you can deal with a more aggressive rate of fat loss. Or you can use our calorie calculator. The link for that one is in the description of the video. I don't care if you do keto, carnivore, or you only eat foods that begin with the letter K. If you're losing weight, you're in a deficit. If you're not, you ain't in a deficit. This is literally what fat loss jabs help with. They kill your appetite so that you eat less. But what do we fill these calories with? First, we need to make sure that we're getting in an adequate amount of protein across the day. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders trying to become Lord Swoldemort. When you eat a higher amount of protein, sticking to your diet will be a lot easier because protein is exceptionally filling. It'll make you less hungry and less of a snacky little gremlin. It will also play a huge role in ensuring you're actually maintaining and building muscle, which is exceptionally important so you don't look like an empty ball bag at the end of this. You don't want to lose 10 kg but look the same, just a bit smaller. You want to get leaner. It's not about the number on the scale, it's about the physical result that you get. Without adequate protein, proper training and proper sleep, which we'll cover later, you'll be losing muscle as well as fat. And then you will get that empty ball bag look, which nobody wants. And muscle is exceptionally metabolically active. So by building more muscle, you will be burning more calories. Plus, protein requires the most amount of energy. So by building more muscle, you'll be burning more calories. Plus, protein also requires the most energy, calories, to break it down. So by having more protein, you will burn more calories than you otherwise would. It's not going to be a crazy amount, but it is still there. So that's going to assist us in being in our deficit. How much do you need to have? 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight is going to fit really well for most. Again, if you are carrying more body fat, we don't want to end up with an unnecessary protein target. So what I would do then is take your goal body weight. So to give you an easy example, if you were, say, 225 pounds and you wanted to get to 180 pounds, you'd go for 180 pounds as your target. Doesn't matter when and how much you get in where. No, but being tactical with it will massively help your adherence. Protein is very filling, so spreading it across the day relatively evenly is going to be advantageous because it will stop you getting really hungry and becoming that snack gremlin raiding the cupboards. Or having an extra serving at dinner because you're hungry. And you'll potentially get slightly more advantageous effects from that protein if you're having, say, 3 or 4 feedings instead of 2. But the most important thing is that you get your target in across the day as a whole. Next is fats. Everybody shits themselves when they hear fats. Oh, I'm gonna get fat. Only if you eat too many, you greedy little piggy. You need to eat fats. Why? Without them, you'll die. So fucking eat them. So why do we need to eat fats? They balance your hormones. Hormones like testosterone are made from fats. Without enough fats, your hormones get all out of whack, causing low energy, poor recovery, mood swings. They're going to contribute to healthy hair, strong nails, better skin, just overall repair. They're going to keep you fuller for longer, help reduce inflammation, and support your brain. They are essential. Now, how many do we need? 20 to 30% of your total calories is the general ballpark that I'd be aiming for. You can go higher if you prefer to have higher fats and lower carbs, but I wouldn't go lower than the 20%. Now here we want to be striving for mostly healthy fats: eggs, salmon, avocado, dark chocolate, extra virgin olive oil. Virgin. Onto carbs. Carbs ain't making you fat, bro. Some carbs are just easy to overconsume because they taste fucking good. And when you overconsume them, you overconsume on calories. Carbs are non-essential, which means we can live without them. But why the fuck would you want to do that? Carbs are your body's favored source of energy, so you can and should have them anyway. But you can utilize them for better quality training. Better quality training is going to lead to more muscle leads to a better look. Fucking sick. But carbs can also be very filling. Potato, the goat carbohydrate, will give you the highest amount of volume, but we also have others that are really filling. Rice, oats, cream of rice, these foods are filling. If you're more full, you're less likely to be raiding the biscuit tin and then over consuming on calories. How many do you need to have? The remainder of your calories will all go towards carbs. This is an interesting part, right? Because you'll have people screaming if it fits your macros, but then they'll eat shit quality food that isn't filling. It's not going to give them what they need from a health and performance standpoint to get the best result. Now, this is a rule that you've probably heard before, but it does work very well. 80% of your food to come from whole, good quality, healthy foods. 20% to come from whatever the fuck you want, whether you want some additional protein or you want to have a Mars bar. Doesn't matter. This is a rule that you should have all of the time, not just whilst dieting. But expanding on this just a little bit more, how are we going to make the food that we are eating more filling? Well, we've already covered protein, high volume carbs, and healthy fats. Protein, I'd look to spread relatively evenly across the day. Similar with fats, potentially. Carbs you can play around with. You might notice that you're more hungry in the evening, so you may want to backload some calories from carbohydrates. Sound. But we cannot forget fruit and veg. For the love of God, eat them multiple times per day. They are essential for your health. We were not lied to growing up. They're packed with vitamins and minerals that your body needs to function. Without them, your body literally can't run properly. Everything from energy to immunity will take a kick in the dick. They'll help protect us against disease. They're going to aid digestion and fullness. So they're a winner. You can eat a lot of them for not very many calories. This is going to mean you're eating a much higher volume of food. It's going to take up more space in your stomach and keep you fuller for longer because there's more space taken up in your stomach. I'd be looking to have fruit or veg or both with every meal, looking to get in 5+ servings a day of each. Now a serving is about 80 grams. Does when and how often you eat matter? Mathematically, no. If you eat the same amount of calories on a daily basis, you'll get the same result. From an adherence perspective, yes. If you eat at random times with random meal frequency, your hunger is going to be all over the gaff. Now, your body adapts to the circumstance that you put it in. Think about you in the workplace. You'll generally have your break around about the same time every day, and you'll notice that you get hungry around those times because it's what you're used to. So it doesn't need to be bang on, but I'd be looking to have relatively consistent meal timings, and I would keep the same meal frequency on a day-to-day basis. And if you're noticing from there that you're overly hungry, you can make adjustments. Make your meal beforehand more filling, spread your protein more evenly, swap to a higher volume carb, add more veg. I will say though, a level of hunger is normal. Dieting is literally controlled starvation. It's not going to be a walk in the park. We can make there be less hunger, but do expect there to be hunger at times. Without consistency in your routine, you're making it much harder than it needs to be. I couldn't give a shit if you have breakfast or not. If eating later works for you, sound. But it's not magic. What matters is what you do on a consistent basis. Something else we can utilize to manage hunger is meal hygiene. And no, I don't mean washing your veg, although you should do that. I worked on a farm in Australia for 4 months, and some of the shit that gets put on fruit and veg to make it grow is mad. So yeah, do wash them. But when I speak about meal hygiene, I mean slowing down whilst you eat. Try putting your knife and fork down between bites. All you will be thinking about is putting that next fucking bite in. If you've ever seen competitive eating, they will do the opposite because they're trying to chow down as much food as possible before their body realizes, fucking hell, we're full. We want to do the opposite to that, slow down and get more full from the food that we're eating. But sometimes when we're losing fat, We might want to go out, have a pint, go on a date night with the missus, whatever it may be, something that requires a few more calories. So we can utilize a calorie cycling approach. Your calorie clock doesn't reset at midnight. So instead of looking at calories daily, we can look at them weekly and maneuver them in a way that works for us. So perhaps Monday to Friday, you're busy, you're not as hungry, but on Saturday, you want to go have a steak with the missus, have a glass of wine or two. If you have it cooked well done, you should be banned from steak restaurants though, just saying, and never be allowed to have steak again. But anyway, we can take some calories from Monday to Friday and put them on Saturday. So let's say we're on 2,000 calories per day. That's 14,000 calories weekly. Well, Monday to Friday, we could take 200. Okay, so we'd have 1,800 Monday through to Friday. Saturday, we've then got an additional 1,000 calories that we can spend. So we can go up to 3,000. And then on Sunday, we just have a regular day at 2,000. That is still 14,000 calories across the week. And we've been able to go out, have steak and a little bit of wine. It's a win-win. You can't be a total dick with it though, and eat like 1,000 calories in the week to just go on a big bender at the weekend. But you can make small realistic adjustments that I just ran you through here. Putting this together, if you click the link in the description with the calorie calculator, it will also give you different nutrition tracking methods with our flexi meal plans in there, where you just need to pick the relevant one for your calories and then pick and choose the pre-worked out options that you want to have. Now that's everything from a food perspective, but that ain't it. This is your total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. Calories that we burn daily. The big bastard, BMR, basal metabolic rate. This shit happens if you're asleep, if you're in a coma, or whatever. This is internal functions that are just happening regardless. We've got no control over these. Okay, so 70% of the calories that we burn daily are happening anyway. The rest of this we're in control of somewhat. The biggest thing that we're in control of is our NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is about 15% of the total calories that you burn daily. This is just non-planned exercise. So this is walking, fidgeting, wanking, it all goes in here. Then we have TEF, which is about 10%, thermic effect of food. When we eat, it takes calories to break it down. Protein being the food that requires the most amount of energy to break down. And then we have that measly little chode, EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, which is why it makes total sense to take advantage of your daily movement to burn more fat. And the interesting thing is, as you're in a deficit, you will want to move less. But having a step goal negates that mostly because you can't hide from that number. You still have to hit it, which keeps your calorie burn high on a consistent basis. So from an exercise perspective, when we're looking at losing fat, I would prioritize steps because they're easy, low impact, and don't take any recovery time. Cardio, however, can be used as a tool to burn more calories. You don't need to do a crazy amount to start with though. I'd be looking at maybe 3 by 15 minutes post-workout at like a 6, 7 out of 10 consistent effort. If you're gonna do it as like more formal cardio, but you could also do like a sport like football or something to make it a little bit more fun. Now, my personal opinion is everybody should do a level of cardio for your health, your cardiovascular health, 100%, but it also makes you fitter. And if you're fitter, it means you're not going to be limited in your resistance training by your overall fitness, which means you can push harder, which means you'll make more gains, have more muscle, burn more calories, and look even better. So you get healthier, burn more calories, and you build capacity to build more muscle. If you are going to do cardio, however, just don't do it right before your weights. Either do it after or another day. If you are going to do it before, it will take energy away from your weight session. Okay, unless you were going to go for like a run or whatever first thing and then train several hours later with a couple meals in you, you could get away with that. But now on to training. I'm going to run you through everything that you need to know from a training perspective to be successful, and it's a lot more simple than you would think. We live in the influencer generation where everything is bad. Bench press, deadlifts, machines, they're all bad apparently, and you need to do their specific split. Morons. First things first, you need a set program. No going into the gym, chopping and changing, all that shit. Fuck that right off. We need a set plan tailored to us and our goals. If If you want to get bigger arms in particular, you should probably have a specific emphasis on your arms. So your program should reflect your goals. And we want to follow this program for a good period of time. Generally, where I will change programs with clients is 10 to 16 weeks. That works quite well. You can go much longer if you're still progressing. You can also get a free program for a 3, 4, or 5 day split in the description of the video. But what you then need to do is make sure you are executing the lifts well. Film your lifts. Take time to review them. This is something we do with our clients every single week. We're not trying to move the bar from A to B. We are trying to train a specific muscle, so we need to make sure that we are actually using that muscle. Plus, by analyzing the lift, we'll be able to see what we actually need to fix and improve on to get more out of the lift and make more progress. We also need to be logging your sessions, noting down what you lifted and for how many reps. None of this I'll remember it shit. No, you don't, you dickhead. You might remember APB, but you're not remembering every set of every exercise, every workout. Just write it down, because then you're going to understand what it is you need to beat the following week, because every week your goal is to do more than you've done before, unless it's a recovery week. There's multiple different formats that you can use that all lead to the same outcome when it comes to your progression formula. Now, what I'm going to run you through is our rapid progression formula, which I'll explain now. We've got 2 variables that we can adjust, weight and reps. Okay, you've got your given rep range that may be, let's say, 8 to 12. Okay, you've got your amount of sets, which is, let's say, 3. Now, your first goal is to initially build reps to hit the top of the rep range. And in a traditional model, you would have to do that for all of your given sets before increasing the weight by the smallest available increment and going again. But we're going to do things slightly differently with our dynamic approach. Okay, you're going to utilize the first set as the gauge for your progression. As soon as you hit the upper range on your first set, you increase the weight for the following week for your first set. And then on the remaining sets, you can either stay the same on the increased weight if you think you'll be able to stick within the given rep range, or you can reduce and use the weight that you're using from the previous week if you need to stay within the rep range. You don't have to stay with the same weight in every single set with this approach. It's much more fluid. So to give you an example, let's say we're doing 3 sets of 8 to 12, and we're going to do barbell bench press. Session 1, you hit 95 kg for 12 reps on the first set, and then 10 on the second set, and 8 on the third set. So session 2 comes along, and you're going to increase the first set to 100 kg, and you hit 8 reps. If you do another set the same weight, you're going to drop out the rep range. So you're going to reduce to 95 kg to stay within the same rep range. Then the following week, you have a strong week. You hit 100 kg for 10, so you can probably stay within the rep range on the same weight. So you stick at 100 kg for the following set, you do 8 reps at the 100 kg, and then you're at the bottom of the rep range, so you drop to 95 kg for that last set. But the following week, you hit 100 kg for 11 in the first set, 10 in the second, so you're going to stay with 100 kg for all of those 3 sets. And as soon as you hit the top of the rep range on the first set, you increase again and the cycle continues. So you don't wait around for everything else to catch up. You just increase again and again. You self-regulate. So hopefully you get the idea there. In terms of intensity, train as hard as you can. Reps in reserve training is great when you understand how to actually train to true failure, when you know what leaving 1 rep in the tank is like, 2 reps in the tank is like. Most people don't train anywhere near as hard as they need to. Most people train with so many reps left in the tank. So don't piss about with that. Learn how to train really freaking hard first. You need to give your body a reason to change, otherwise it won't. Before we get into what to do when you hit a plateau, we cannot skip past sleep. We're in a global sleep epidemic right now. So many people are chronically underslept because of screens, caffeine, alcohol, poor sleep routines and stress. And the impact of this is huge. You lose more muscle, testosterone decreases, your hunger goes up, your ability to make good decisions goes down, your energy, mood and drive all go down. We want to be aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep on a consistent basis. So how do we fix this? First thing you're going to look at doing is getting 10 to 15 minutes of outdoor light within 30 minutes of waking if possible. Okay, what we really want to do is get as much natural light in the day as you can to create a big contrast in lux. Lux is just how we measure the strength of light. As it gets towards the evening, we want to dim the lights so we're exposed to less light, so your body is getting ready for sleep. The bigger the contrast from day to night in light exposure, the easier it's going to be for you to get to sleep, because your body is thinking, oh, I'm awake, and then fucking hell, it's time to go to sleep. The second thing is to set a sleep window. Have a consistent time where you're going to bed and waking up. It's not going to be the exact same every single day. That's okay, but we want to be keeping a relatively consistent routine, and you need to be giving yourself enough time in bed to make sure that you actually get the sleep that you need. Your body thrives on routine. If you master your routine, you will then master your sleep. Probably heard of your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm. When you keep that clock running on a consistent routine, everything will start running with you, not against you, because your brain and your hormones can release melatonin at the right time. It will help keep cortisol in check, so your energy and your stress stay balanced. It's going to help you fall asleep quicker and stay asleep for longer, and it's going to boost your energy, mood, and focus during the day. And then have a caffeine curfew. No caffeine 8 hours before bed. Caffeine is a stimulant. If you're having caffeine close to bed, it's going to be keeping you awake, and it stays in your system for a really fucking long time. I look to cut caffeine off by 2 p.m. at the latest. And then fuck screens off 60 minutes before bed. I know you're guilty of sitting there doom scrolling. 60 minutes before bed, fuck it off. Lights are keeping you awake. They are keeping you stimulated, right? We want to be dimming lights, but then we're having a screen that is emitting light 1 inch from our face. Replace that with something relaxing like reading, journaling, whatever it may be. Then we've got to look at your bedroom environment. It needs to be dark. Blackout curtains, blinds, an eye mask. We want it to be cool, sort of 16 to 19 degrees Celsius is kind of the sweet spot. If it's noisy, look at having some white noise in the background or earplugs, and make sure the bed is actually comfortable. Number 6 is we can potentially utilize the support of supplements. One that I take personally is magnesium biglycinate, but without doing everything else, it is rendered useless. Number 7 is looking at alcohol management. Alcohol disrupts sleep quality, even 1 or 2 drinks. If we are drinking, we want to stop a couple hours before we go to bed to allow it to somewhat move through our system. And then the last point is our stress management, looking at how we can relax, breath work, meditation, journaling before bed, utilizing a brain dump technique, whatever it may be, to help calm you and get you ready to relax before sleep. The last thing to go through is what to do when you hit a plateau. Now, if your fat loss has stalled for 14 days or more, you're going to do the following. Be brutally honest. Are you actually sticking to the plan and being genuinely adherent? Are you accurately tracking your calories? Are you skipping workouts? Are you hitting your cardio? Are you doing your steps? Are you genuinely on it? You don't want to have to make these changes if you don't have to. Who wants to eat less food and do more cardio if they don't need to? I fucking don't. Most of the time, you're not going to need to make adjustments. You need to increase adherence. Okay, if the adherence isn't there, reflect on why that is, address what's going on, what the root cause is, and what the action plan to overcome that is. Potentially, you've built up some diet fatigue and you might benefit from a diet break. A period of maintenance might just give you a bit of a refresh to go again. But there will come a time when you do need to make an adjustment. These are some generic adjustments that I might make. Obviously, it's going to be person dependent, but we might look at increasing your daily steps by 2,000, adding 20 minutes of weekly cardio, or reducing calories by 5 to 10%. Now pick one, test it for 14 days and reassess. The key here is accuracy and honesty. So now you've got the blueprint to losing 10 kg in the right way, without the gimmicks, and without ending up looking like an empty ball bag. So if this hit home, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you'd like my help to take all of the thinking out for you, there's a link to my application form in the description of the video. Fill that out and I'll be in touch. See you in the next one.